Picture this: America's most glamorous movie star, the woman who captivated audiences for decades with her beauty and talent, was allegedly living a double life so disturbing that when the truth came out, it changed how we think about celebrity forever. Joan Crawford wasn't just hiding scandals or affairs. According to her own daughter, she was a monster who terrorized her children behind the glittering facade of Hollywood royalty. The story that emerged after Crawford's death in 1977 was so shocking that it created an entirely new genre, the celebrity tell-all. But this wasn't just gossip or tabloid fodder. This was the daughter's detailed account of years of alleged psychological and physical torture at the hands of one of Hollywood's biggest stars. And the most chilling part? The alleged abuse happened while Crawford was playing loving mother for the cameras, fooling an entire nation about who she really was behind closed doors. When Joan Crawford decided to adopt children in the 1940s, it seemed like the perfect fairy tale ending for a woman who had suffered multiple miscarriages. The press ate it up. Here was Hollywood royalty opening her heart and home to children who needed love. Crawford had adopted Christina in 1940, Christopher in 1942, and twins Kathy and Cindy in 1947. The photo opportunities were endless, the glamorous star playing with her beautiful children, teaching them values, showing the world what maternal love looked like. But according to Christina Crawford's explosive 1978 memoir, Mommie, Dearest, those heartwarming photos were nothing more than carefully staged propaganda. Christina claimed that Joan adopted children not out of love, but as the ultimate PR move to boost her fading career. The children were family, they were props in Joan's desperate attempt to maintain her image as America's sweetheart. And once the camera stopped rolling, Christina alleged the real Joan Crawford emerged. The most infamous incident from Christina's book became seared into American pop culture forever. One night, when Christina was around 10 years old, Joan allegedly discovered wire hangers in her daughter's closet. Now, wire hangers might seem like a trivial issue, but Joan Crawford was obsessed with perfection and control. She reportedly had specific rules about everything in her house, and wire hangers were absolutely forbidden. What happened next became the stuff of nightmares. According to Christina, Joan dragged her from bed in the middle of the night, screaming "No wire hangers, no wire hangers," while beating her daughter with the very hangers that had triggered her rage. The beating was so severe that Christina claimed her ears were ringing for hours afterwards. But the physical pain was nothing compared to the psychological terror of being awakened from sleep to face her mother's unpredictable fury. This wasn't just a spanking or typical parental discipline. Christina described it as a calculated assault designed to break her spirit. Joan allegedly grabbed her daughter by the hair, threw her around the room, and continued the attack until she was physically exhausted. Then, as if nothing had happened, Joan would return to her normal routine the next day, leaving Christina to wonder if she had imagined the whole terrifying ordeal. The wire hanger incident was just one example of what Christina called Joan's night raids. These alleged late-night attacks became a recurring pattern of terror in the Crawford household. According to the memoir, Joan would drink heavily, then wake the children up at random hours, forcing them to clean already spotless rooms or complete impossible tasks as punishment for imaginary infractions. Christina described being forced to scrub bathroom floors with toothbrushes, reorganize perfectly arranged closets, and clean kitchen surfaces that were already immaculate. The point wasn't actually cleaning, it was psychological warfare. Joan allegedly wanted to break down her children's sense of security, ensuring they lived in constant fear of when the next raid might occur. But perhaps most disturbing were the alleged emotional manipulations. Christina claimed Joan forced her children to call her Mommie, Dearest, a term that sounds loving but became twisted into something sinister. Joan reportedly demanded total submission and worship from her children while simultaneously withholding any genuine affection or maternal warmth. The children were required to perform love for someone who, according to Christina, gave them nothing but fear in return. The story becomes even more complex when you consider that not everyone in the Crawford family agrees with Christina's version of events. Joan's twin daughters, Kathy and Cindy, have consistently denied every allegation made in Mommie, Dearest. They paint a completely different picture of their mother, describing her as loving, supportive, and devoted to their children's well-being. Kathy has been particularly vocal in defending Joan's memory and stating that Christina lived in her own reality and that their mommy was the best mother anyone ever had. She recalls Joan rushing off movie sets when the children were hurt, driving them to doctors herself, and always being available when they needed her. According to the twins, the household was strict but fair, with reasonable rules and genuine maternal love. This creates an almost impossible puzzle for anyone trying to understand the truth. How could the same woman be both a loving mother and an abusive monster? Did Christina fabricate her stories out of resentment over money and attention? Or did Joan somehow manage to abuse some children while genuinely caring for others? The family's decision on this issue has never been resolved, creating decades of speculation and debate. Hollywood insiders were equally split. Some, like actress Helen Hayes and director Vincent Sherman, admitted they witnessed Joan being perhaps overly strict with discipline. Others, including major stars like Katharine Hepburn and Myrna Loy, came to Joan's defense, describing her as a devoted mother who was unfairly maligned by a resentful daughter. The final twist in this family drama came after Joan Crawford's death, when her will was read publicly. In a move that seemed designed to cause maximum pain and controversy, Joan deliberately disinherited both Christina and Christopher, leaving them nothing while giving the bulk of her estate to the twins and various charities. But it was the language in the will that really stung. Joan excluded her older children for reasons which are well known to them. This cryptic phrase became Christina's final motivation for writing Mommie, Dearest. She had been publicly humiliated and financially punished, but more importantly, she felt her mother was still trying to control and manipulate her from beyond the grave. The will suggested that Christina and Christopher had done something terrible to deserve being cut off, but never specified what those reasons were. It was psychological warfare that continued even after death. Christina fought the will and eventually won a settlement of $27,500, a tiny fraction of Joan's $2 million estate, but enough to prove that the disinheritance wasn't legally bulletproof. More importantly, though, Christina had found her weapon for fighting back. She would tell the world exactly what those well-known reasons were and let the public decide who was telling the truth. The publication of Mommie, Dearest in 1978 created a cultural earthquake that's still being felt today. The book became an instant bestseller, selling over 4 million copies and establishing the template for every celebrity tell-all that followed. Suddenly, the private lives of famous people were fair game in a way they had never been before. When the book was adapted into a 1981 film starring Faye Dunaway, it became an unintentional camp classic. Dunaway's over-the-top performance as Joan Crawford was so dramatic that audiences began laughing at scenes that were meant to be terrifying. The no-wire hanger scene became a cultural meme long before memes existed, referenced in everything from TV shows to drag performances. But the cultural impact went far beyond entertainment. Mommie, Dearest opened up conversations about child abuse that had rarely happened in public before. It showed that wealth, fame, and public admiration couldn't protect children from private horrors. The book helped other abuse survivors feel less alone and gave them language to describe their experiences. The story also revealed the dark side of Hollywood's golden age image-making machine. For decades, studios had carefully crafted the public personas of their stars, hiding anything that might damage their marketability. Joan Crawford's adoption of children was presented as pure maternal instinct, but Christina's book suggested it was just another calculated career move. The revelation showed how little audiences really knew about the people they idolized. Even today, nearly 50 years after Joan Crawford's death, the truth about her relationship with her children remains a mystery that may never be solved. Christina Crawford maintains every word of her memoir is true, while the surviving family members continue to defend Joan's memory. Without independent witnesses to the most serious allegations, the story becomes a he said, she said situation with no clear resolution. What we do know is that Mommie, Dearest changed celebrity culture forever. It proved that no public figure was beyond scrutiny and that family members could become the most dangerous threat to a carefully constructed image. Every celebrity scandal that followed, from family tell-alls to social media exposés, can trace its DNA back to Christina Crawford's decision to break the silence about life inside the Crawford mansion. The story also raises uncomfortable questions about memory, family loyalty, and the price of fame. Did Joan Crawford sacrifice her humanity in pursuit of stardom? Did the pressures of maintaining a perfect public image drive her to impossible standards at home? Or was she simply a loving mother whose memory was destroyed by a bitter daughter seeking revenge and financial gain? Perhaps the most chilling aspect of the entire controversy is that we'll never really know which version of Joan Crawford was real. The glamorous movie star that charmed millions, the devoted mother remembered by her twin daughters, or the terrifying figure described in Mommie, Dearest. The truth died with Joan Crawford in 1977, leaving behind only conflicting memories and a cultural legacy that continues to fascinate and disturb us today. What's certain is that the Crawford family saga revealed the dangerous gap between public image and private reality, a gap that continues to haunt celebrity culture in our social media age.